Hello and welcome to this video today. I'm very happy that you're watching. Today I want to talk about something that lays quite close to my heart, and that is the idea that we are dependent on someone else for our own independent healing. That we are dependent on someone else's thoughts or actions or mind and heart and love in order for our own heart to heal and in order for us to find love. Even though it was the act of potentially someone else that once actually made us forget that we are loved and made us forget about love and that we were loved from the start. And how come then that we continue this idea that we are dependent on someone else to find the love in us? When you are born, you are already loved. You are loved. The baby is love when it's born. Often we think about or we talk about how the importance of the parents to show the baby love. Of course this is true. We know that neglected babies or neglected kids, they grow up and they end up sort of fucked up. So we know that is true. However, I also want to bring in the perspective that it's the baby that has all the love in it already when it's born, and the parents gets the challenge and the privilege to try to meet the baby on the frequency of love. You know, we often talk about like staring into a baby's eyes, like it's the eyes of eternity, like it's the eyes of love. You really feel the soul of the baby. The baby is so fresh when it's coming into the world. So the baby knows a lot more than the parent, of course, about love. The parent might have, which is unfortunately often the case, might have forgot about what love is, that we are love, that you are love, that love is a frequency that we can tap into if we get clean of everything that draws us down to the lower frequency. So many of us we forget about that. And how come then when the baby is born that we more often talk about like that the baby learn about love from the parent? No, that is not the case. It's the other way around. We need to think about it, in my opinion, and many others with me probably. We need to think about it the other way around, that the baby comes into the world and we are here, the parents are here to learn and to follow and truly to meet the baby where it is, to hold space for this love to grow. And that is where many parents fail. First of all, because they forget about it and they have their own past traumas, etc. But it might also be that there is too much of a weight on the parents to sort of, they need to show the kid what love is. That's anyway a normal, like it's written in books, how to become a parent, the best parent for your child, blah blah blah. And it sort of puts the idea that it's up to the parent if the baby will grow up in love. But it's actually, they are already coming into this world with love, and it's up to the parent to understand that and to learn from it, or to get help to remember. So it's actually the parent that is dependent on the love of the child, of the baby. The parent is learning from the baby. I know that the baby is of course dependent on the care and the space and the nurture and the environment of the parent, but the love is the baby that's coming, bringing the love, and it's up to the parent to tune into that frequency and remember and sort of just have the privilege of soaking into the love. And that is often where we fail. That's often where we forget. And the parents sort of take over and disrupt and eventually help the baby that grows into child, that grows into teen, that grows into adult, to forget that it was love, that it is love from the start. So, and then when the baby is an adult, it needs to repair itself. It needs to remember. It needs to be fixed, it thinks. That's sort of the norm. Something is wrong with me. I have too much anxiety because I learned about fear in this world that I was born into, or I learned about repression, suppression of myself. So I got depressed, so I need to fix myself. And then I should go to another adult who also sort of forget about love, or I should go to someone maybe that remember about love. But the idea that I'm dependent on someone else in order for me to heal, it might be that you are wasting your time, that you are not doing the healing efficiently. And I think we can all recognize ourselves in this term, like, yeah, I traveled the world just to find myself at home, just to find myself in the privacy of my own home, in my own heart. You know, I did all these retreats, I read all these self-help books, I spent all this money on therapy just to find that, well, it was all there. I just had to be in the stillness of my own body, of my own heart, so that I could help myself to sort of peek out with who I am and the love I have inside that I had there from the start, and so that I could remember. It's all about remembering. It's not about learning something new. It's not about learning something new. It's about remember what is already there and what was there from the start. And I want to you know, inspire your thoughts to really shift your perspective of healing. It's not about making the mistake that that you were born into, like you're dependent on someone else to feel love, and that you're making the same thing when you're going to find love again when you're an adult. You're dependent on a therapist, on a retreat, or on a substance, or on psychedelics or antidepressant. You're dependent on something or someone so that you can help yourself. Of course, it does help. I'm not saying it takes you closer. It can take you closer to finding yourself. But most of us who has done that work have discovered, okay, it's really when I peel off the layers, when I take away all the distractions around me that distracts me from myself, when I'm just still. And when I sit with myself, when I manage to sit with myself. And yeah, this is not easy. This is not easy at all, because most of us are not used to just be with ourselves and see and to sort of remember the skill of being with ourselves, with our own heart, with our own body. Most of us learn, and also the society helps us sort of forget. It gives us the idea that we should do something about ourselves all the time. We should fix ourselves. So it's very difficult. It's like something to remember, I would say. It's not something to learn. I want you to, or I suggest that you think about it rather that way, that I'm remembering a skill that I already have, but I forgot about it, rather than, oh, I'm new to this shit, I'm gonna learn this, I'm gonna learn meditation. No, you already know it. You already know it. Like a child is meditating when it's, you know, all the time. And yeah, it has needs, because it's very, very attuned to its body, right? It knows when it wants to sleep. It knows when it's uncomfortable. It knows when it's hungry. It knows when it wants closeness. It's super attuned to its body. So it's in a very meditative state. And also like in psychedelic world, like when we take a psychedelic substance, you could say that you are brought back to the brain of a baby. You know, if you have ever had like a psychedelic experience, you know, like it's, oh, you see the world in a totally new way, like it's the first time you see it. You see nuances, you appreciate things, it's present, you're very present. And this is how babies interact with the world. They can just lay and look at a ceiling forever until it's hungry, of course, until it has needs that it motivates it to scream or to fuss about something. But yeah, it's very present. And that's what psychedelics does to it. It takes us back to that journey. But the problem, I'd say, with psychedelics or any other substance, or yeah, again, that we're depending on something in order to remember, and it might help us to get us closer. But in the end, if you really, you know, want to fall into yourself, fall into remember yourself, I would suggest doing it without nothing. Like that's the end station. It's quite boring, actually. it's nothing fancy about healing when it comes to the raw act of healing. You can do a lot of fancy things to get there, but many of us just discover, it's just actually to sit down and to feel my fucking pain, to be with my body when I'm still, when I'm starting to feel anxious, when I'm bored, when I want to escape. I don't want to sit with myself. I want to talk with someone. I want to help with someone. I want to go to therapy. I want to take something so that it can help me. It can make the process faster, etc., etc. But whenever you do, this is a distraction. Honestly, you will get deep, but not as deep as when you do the very boring thing of just sitting with yourself and see what comes up. You don't even have to call it meditation, because that's also tricky. People, sometimes when we meditate, we can trick our mind and like think, well, I'm going to meditate, which is an act. It's a doing. I'm going to be good. I'm going to be a good girl and I'm going to meditate. And look how well I'm doing it. And it's like a trick of the mind. As soon as we think about it like that, then we're not in the present moment. Then we're not in the being. So it's sort of, also it's sort of, you need to think about it like, it's actually just to sit on a freaking stone in the nature, or on a chair, whatever, in your boring apartment, and to just see what happens. Do you start to notice how you want to escape, yourself, and how actually you rationalize ideas to why you should escape and why it's better, and you don't even understand that it's an escape. But that's really the art, I would say, that when you understand that you're not dependent on someone else for your healing, because that is what destroyed your healing in the first place, or that is like what disrupted your path in the first place. When you got dependent on someone who had no fucking clue about love, when you got dependent on someone who forgot about love, and that destroyed you. And why would you want to be dependent on someone again when it's already in there, in you, in your own independent heart? And when you go into yourself, when you fall into the stillness of your own body, well, actually it might not be that still at the first, like when you start doing this, because there's many layers of movements that just want to escape and feelings and stuff wants to happen. But when you fall into yourself in the present moment, more and more, like disciplined work over time is very, very important. Think about if you live like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years forgetting about yourself. Obviously, it's not going to take a weekend of retreat to sort of remember you again. That's not how it works. It can give you inspiration, but it's going to fall out. You're going to forget about it unless you continue and do this like continuously every day. Like get used to your body again. Like cut off everything, the dependency of everything else. That is really, I would say, one clue to cut off attachment to anyone or everything else, or the dependency on anyone or everything else, in order to really fall into the focus on yourself, your alignment in your body, in your mind, and your soul, and to get your body to acquaint itself again, to get used to like you are here, like you are really here, you are alive, you are present. And the more you do, the more you are capable of falling into yourself, and in the present moment, into yourself, into your own mind, into your own body, and things will happen, stuff will pop up. As one of my ex-teachers, former teacher Alan Abbas, kudos to him, said, like stuff will pop up when you heal and you deal with the stuff. So when stuff will pop up, you deal with the stuff, and the more you deal with it, the more clean you will be, so that you can fall in more and more and more, and be present. And the more you are present, the more you have the capacity to, first of all, remember your body, remember your mind, remember your personality, like what you like, who you are, what kind of relationships you want, like what drives you, what inspires you in this life. So all of those things, but maybe more importantly, or as important, you fall into the frequency of love. So you fall into like what it is to actually love, to what it is to actually feel love. You don't find love outside of yourself, right? You don't find, that's not where you look for it. It's when you find it, like by falling into yourself, then you can tune into the beauty of life and the beauty of love. When you start to understand that you are love, that you are loved, you were always loved. Yeah, you were born into maybe an environment that didn't have a clue about love. They forgot about it. It's not their fault, but they forgot about it. It's human. So you thought that you are not loved and you are not chosen and you are not worthy and you are not valuable, etc., etc. And then you sort of sustained that state and you met other people who also didn't value themselves, and you know, it just got messy. But the more you do the work of falling into yourself, yeah, you will remember you're already chosen, you're already valuable, you're already loved, you are already here. You don't have to go anywhere in order to, you know, be worthy of being here. You have the right to exist just by being here, and that's how it was from the start. So in yourself, in the sacred space of your own heart, of your own body, that is where love will find you. That is where you will remember how it feels to feel love, and that you in fact are love, and that everything around you can be it as well. And that's where you start to see more beauty in life, when you are less fear-driven, and when you are less driven by a perspective of that you need to find threats all the time in order to survive, or driven by like you are not worthy, so that you try to prove yourself all the time. You don't need to prove yourself. You are enough, just that you fall into yourself. And what then happens when you are not dependent on someone else to heal you, when you are not dependent on someone else to understand you are loved and that you are worthy, what then happens is that everything that will serve you will be attracted to you. So by the way, also, if you're chasing love in someone else, that's not the way. You're not going to find love that way. It will come to you, or like a person will come to you that is yours, that you can have a relationship with, either for life or like for as long as you need it. But that's the way. If you really want to find like also romantic relationship that suits you, that's the way, and that fulfill you. Then you have to fulfill yourself first. That's the way. You fall into yourself. You cut off like the external reinforcement, or like the dependency of everything around you, distractions of everything around you, and the attachment. So actually you detach. That's the way. So that you can attach to yourself. You can be dependent on yourself. Detach from everything else and attach to yourself. And when you do that, you will get rewarded by lovely things coming your way, both in relationships and like in career and hobbies. And you will also have a new understanding of what it means to be rich. It's not always money. It can be other things that actually fulfill you and make you rich. So yeah, I hope these thoughts like inspire you. That what works, that needs to be done. It's maybe to stop, to go to therapy if it doesn't help you. And if it helps you, I mean, that's weird for me to say as a psychologist, and I'm a therapist, I work with therapy, but this different mindset that I don't want anyone to be dependent on the therapy, think that that's the way, like that I am healing them. It's really to evoke the healer in you. That's my task anyway as a therapist. I'm evoking the healer in you so that you can remember how to heal yourself in the privacy of your own heart, of your own home. So that is what therapy should give you, and that is what retreats should give you. But eventually you need to do the work alone. You need to do the work alone. However, you could also profit from guidance, of course. I mean, it's not black or white. It's not one way or another. And honestly, if we forgot about to do it, we need to be reminded. So I do have a digital course on this very theme, but it's really designed for you to do in the privacy of your own home. And it's really about stopping with things that destroy you, that make you forget all the distractions, becoming aware of it. And then in order for you to face yourself, to sit in stillness, so you can start with things that fulfill you. It's a course that calls How to Love Yourself and Live Fully. It's not the solution for you, but it is the guide for you to guide yourself, to find yourself. And so that is a potential for you to really do this hardcore work of stopping before restarting. So there is a link in the description to where you can find this course. And so that is an option. Otherwise, I also trust you. Like when you ask your heart, like what is the best for me to heal? And everyone has their own path in the end, but many of us come to the conclusion, yeah, I was there all along. I was there all along. I was there. I just had to find myself and remember myself. So I hope this helps you. I really do, because I really want you to find yourself and tap into the frequency of love and to start loving yourself so you can see beauty in life, because the more of us that do, the better place this world obviously will be. So yeah, I hope that landed well in you, and thank you for watching, and I wish you a very good day.